On Monday, President Biden called on Congress and regulators to, quote, strengthen the rules for banks to make it less likely that this kind of bank failure will happen again, end quote. Secretary Yellen, thank you for being here today. Do you agree with the president that we need to strengthen our banking rules?
Well, I think we certainly need to analyze carefully what happened that triggered these bank failures and re-examine our rules and supervision and make sure that they're appropriate to address the risks that banks face.
Okay, so we want to make sure we've got the right rules in place. And pretty obvious we need some stronger rules here, so I want to talk about those rules, the stress test. Stress tests are critical tools in the regulatory toolbox that are designed to expose banks' vulnerabilities if bad things happen and force the banks to shore up any weak points before it's too late. Now, Secretary Yellen, when you were implementing the Dodd-Frank regulations as Fed chair 6 years ago, back in 2017, you said, quote, our stress testing regime is forcing banks to greatly improve their risk management and capital planning, end quote. But you warned that because, quote, we can never be confident that there won't be another financial crisis. It is important that we maintain the improvements that have been put in place that mitigate the risk and the potential damage, end quote. So I want to talk about those stress tests that you talked about, how important they were 6 years ago. Secretary Yellen, can regular, rigorous, well-designed stress tests help bank regulators spot problems lurking in banks' balance sheets and business models?
Yes, I continue to endorse the comments
Good.
you quoted. I think this has been one of the most important and consequential improvements in supervision since the financial crisis.
So, two thumbs up for stress tests. Let me just ask, when regulators spot these problems early on, can those regulators then require the banks to clean up the problems long before they trigger a run on the bank?
Yes, and in that sense, they're useful, but I would like to make one point,
Sure.
which is that the supervisory stress tests focus on capital
Yes.
and not on liquidity. And in these bank failures, liquidity played an important role.